As Nashville, I watched another Robert Altman film. I watched the just as good, but much less known, Shortcuts. This is actually Robert Altman's dream project.
Oh my God.
It's an adaptation of Raymond Carver's short stories with a cast of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, about 22 characters. I mean, this film should just be called Mid-90s Stars, the motion picture. You get Tim Robbins, Jennifer Jason Leigh,
Chris Penn,
Robert Downey Jr.,
Frances McDormand.
Yeah. See, all those people who don't have careers now. Tom Waits is still great.
Julianne Moore.
She's got a career still. But that woman's in it, Andie MacDowell.
Oh yeah.
What has Andie MacDowell been doing for the last 5 years?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yes.
Jack Lemmon's in it.
Jack Lemmon is amazing in it.
Oh
He's not a mid-90s star.
No.
No.
Just a great actor.
This has got, I think, probably the best cast of any film ever made. That many talented people in that sort of close proximity to it is just incredible. So basically, after the 80s, which was what Altman's sort of wild man period, he couldn't get films made, he made TV movies. He basically went completely off the Hollywood map because they weren't making the kind of films he wanted to make. There's loads of arguments about some of his films having some merit. Some of them are apparently classics. There's one he did which is really great, which is which got Secret Honor, which is all about Richard Nixon. All it is a 90-minute film set in Nixon's office as he talks about the Watergate scandal, and it's just, I've seen bits of it online, and it looks incredible. Like the actual performance, the bits I've seen are great. But yeah, 80s on the whole, he couldn't get big films financed. He was working in mainly doing sort of adaptation of plays and stuff. He made an adaptation of a Mad magazine thing called O.C. and Stig,
oh God,
which is a sex comedy.
Oh God.
Yeah, it wasn't a good time for him.
No.
But then he made a triumphant comeback with The Player, which was seen at the time as being a classic and being this great, cynical, hilarious thriller. It sort of put him back on the map. And it is a really good film.
It's a good film, yeah.
Robert Altman himself has actually disowned the film.
Ah.
Yeah, he said it was just a hack work he did to make more films. He thinks it's okay, but nothing much. Even though it is a really, really good film. He apparently thinks McCabe and Mrs. Miller's not very good. His favourite one of his films is Brewster McCloud. So
Okay.
obviously he's an artist who can't judge his own work. But yeah, Shortcuts then was his sort of dream project, and after the success of The Player, which is a big hit, as well as being critically acclaimed, he finally had sort of the money and sort of backing to make this massive, sprawling, 3-hour epic. It's all set in LA, it's just a love letter to LA. It's set over, I think actually the exact same period of time as Nashville, 5 days, and it's about these different low-life characters just interacting. There's no real plot to speak of. It's just these characters sort of living their lives. And
is there like a thing that links it, like, you know, like in Nashville we're all coming to the bicentennial? Is there anything like that?
No.
Oh.
Sort of. At the beginning, there's a linking device at the beginning, which is this amazing early, there's a really amazing beginning montage where it's a real thing. Like they sprayed the whole of LA with pollutants to sort of get rid of something. Okay. They sprayed the whole thing, and that sort of, you see these planes go over, and as it goes past every character's house, it goes into them and sees them interacting. Just the next one and goes like that. And the film ends on an earthquake, which sort of builds them all together. But the film is just more like a sort of character study of all these different people, and it's all about living in LA, and sort of being at the bottom where you live there. Again, just like Nashville, it's sort of one of the main plot line, sort of the one that, again, it's one of these films where nothing really takes precedence over anything else. But one of the big ones is that Andie MacDowell's son is hit by a car. Lily Tomlin, who was in Nashville, she's the one who hits him. Oh, yeah. He's hit by a car, but he won't go to hospital with the woman because his mother said don't speak to strangers. So he goes back home, then he passes out, and it's all about whether this kid's going to live. And that sort of unites more characters, because Jack Lemmon is the grandfather, he's into it through there. and one of the other characters is a doctor, and that doctor has his wife is an artist who interacts with all these different characters. So that's sort of one of the linking devices, but it's more about how these characters are all lonely and depressed in LA, and they don't have any kind of, because it is all about LA in the mid-90s. LA obviously is famous for Hollywood, and you know, you'd expect glamour. Disease.
Yeah.
Everyone
Corruption.
Corruption.
LA sounds like a horrible place to live.
Well, that's how it's sort of painted in this, sort of.
Yeah.
There's a semi-romanticism to it, but every character is drunk.
Yeah.
Literally in every single scene, it seems like every character has a drink in their hand.
Even Pokemon knew LA was shit.
What?
There's an episode of Pokemon when we go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they get there like, oh, Misty's like, it's gonna be amazing, Hollywood, for glitz, for glamour, for stars. And they get there and it's a dump.
Yeah.
Like, wow, even Pokemon is making better commentary on how shit LA is.
Yeah. Because it's all about like people at the bottom of life. Like they all have these jobs that are sort of semi-ridiculous. Like one's Chris Penn is a pool cleaner, and remember Chris Penn when he was a star? Do you know Chris Penn is Sean Penn's brother? He's in Reservoir Dogs. He's sort of a fat ginger guy.
Oh yes, there is. Yeah,
he's like a pool cleaner, and Robert Downey Jr. plays a makeup artist, but not like an apprentice, not like a big star on or anything. And one's just a house sitter, and Tom Waits is a limo driver, and one like
that's what Tom Waits is actually doing these days.
He's a successful musician. Stop having a go at him all the time. Tom Waits is amazing. His music is
great. Yeah.
He gives one of the best performances. He plays like this drunk, like this. Like, he keeps losing jobs and stuff. He's the kind. He's like dishevelled and drunk, and he lives with Lily Tomlin, and she keeps kicking him out but welcoming him back in. Because every character's drunk and depressed, and she's so like needy that she'll take in this horrible drunken. He's even hinted at being a paedophile.
Oh my god!
Whereas he's hinted at being like as molesting one of the other characters when she was 8. Like, it's full of these little linking devices between each one. Again, it's a bit like a more mature version of Nashville. Like there are a few things in Nashville that come off a bit cheap. Like I'm thinking of the opening. It's like it's done as a parody of commercials, and it's like. Well, go see Nashville, 24, our favourite stars, Michael Murphy. It's done like that as like a bit of a piss day. But Shortcuts is more mature than that. It's more adult work. It reminded me a lot of watching Deadwood.
Oh yeah.
In a lot of ways, bizarrely, because it's again about how there's not as good swearing, unfortunately.
Cocksucker.
Yes, but it's all about how characters are linked and how they aren't linked, and about how communities sort of form and stuff like that.
Okay.
And like. The ways that go into things, like when you go into each character and see the motivations, you've got all this different stuff that's going in there. There's like a really great scene where this one's actually probably the most famous short story that they adapted for it. These people go on a fishing trip and they find a dead body, but they don't want to interrupt their fishing trip, so they just tie it to a leaf. They tie it to a tree and then just come back for it at the end of the 3 days. So they find this dead body, but they just don't do anything for 3 days, and then it's all about this sort of aftermath of that. But what it does is like it's a horrible thing to do, really, isn't it? They just leave this body and do nothing. But it shows how like the guy who's the one you spend most time with, how he's unemployed and he never gets a break or anything, and he's depressed. So he's got these 3 days. The only 3 days he's got. You can understand what he's doing. It's not pathetic or anything, but you can understand why he makes this decision. Or when this woman hits this child with a car. Like, she says, like, oh, I'll take you to hospital, but he's like, oh, my mum told me not to get in a car with strangers, so he just walks off. And again, it's a horrible thing to do it in the cab of a car, but it shows how, like, things can escalate from there, like how this kid won't get in because his mum's told him not to get in the strangers and stuff, and how everything escalates to this sort of tragedy.
Don't talk to strangers.
Like, spoiler alert, the kid dies. So and it escalates, and it shows every single sort of process of that, how like miscommunication and all this.
We do a lot of things where children die recently.
Yes, but yeah, that's sort of what it reminds me a lot of how it's treated in Deadwood with the William. Yeah. So it shows how miscommunication sort of resulted in how you couldn't go to hospital in time and all this different stuff. And like, there's a brilliant scene where it's the kid's birthday the day after he's died, and like the mum goes to a cake maker to get a cake made for him, but she never shows up to collect it because the kid's died. So the cake maker leaves these abusive messages in her answering machine, and it shows how like the guy who makes this cake is like he works 16-hour days and he needs all this money he can get and stuff. So he's how pissed off he is and how drunk he is. So he makes these abusive phone calls. But then it shows every sort of aspect of it, sort of, you know, empathy for every character.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's just an amazing portrait, again, of sort of a specific time, like mid-90s LA. I read some reviews that are saying it felt almost apocalyptic at the time in like LA, because it's so downbeat and so depressing, and sort of everyone's drunk and looking for something. And because I imagine that if you were going in LA, you'd be looking to make something of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, obviously, if you look at like the 30s or like the 20s, it's like, I'm going to go and be a big star in the movies.
I'm going to be an actor.
Yeah. But this is sort of the reverse of that. This is like all these people with damaged lives, and they're all cheating on their husbands and wives. Everyone drinks all the time, and it just shows how like these people are so lonely and they can't connect with each other, and some of them can. It's like little bits of connections are made, but not in obvious ways. It's just an incredible film, just full of dense moments and laughter and tears, and it's just it again. I would actually say this is maybe better than Nashville.
Oh my god.
Slightly better because again it's sort of more mature, and I like the environment more. I imagine if you liked country music you'd like Nashville more.
Yeah.
But sort of, I don't know, I think LA, like that kind of atmosphere has got some kind of allure.
Yeah.
Even though it sounds like a hellhole. But you know, like no one's got a real job and everyone drinks at night and there's nightclubs open all the time and jazz singers and that kind of stuff. Like the score's all this jazz that like is like a jazz soundtrack that sort of loops through every scene and stuff. It's an amazing score. But it's sort of like, it's not trying to condemn that kind of lifestyle or like romanticize it. It just presents it as it is.
Okay.
So it's not. So it's like I find there's some kind of like, as I say, I wouldn't really want to, but it's like it'd be good for a little bit. Don't you think?
Yeah.
You can see sort of how that would have an allure to these characters and stuff, and even though they are all depressed and drinking all the time, they're looking for something, and there's like something there. I think after watching it, there is some romanticism to that. I say it doesn't present it like that, but I think there is, and I think that's why I prefer it to Nashville. As I say, I think that they are both equally well made. Like they're full of brilliant shots and brilliant acting. The cast in this is just as good. So in summation, then, Shortcuts. It's one of Robert Altman's masterpieces. It's the best film of his post-Nashville career, and probably apart from McCabe and Mrs. Miller, and possibly Nashville, my favourite one. Nashville's a more important film, but I think this is more mature and better exploration of the same kind of themes. And it's his passion project. He lived this kind of lifestyle, and this is what he sort of was all about. This is one where it feels like he's leaving his film to the world. You know what I mean? Like I think every director has one film which sort of sums what they're doing up.
Yeah.
If they get the kind of career he's had, where he made like 40 films and had a lot of control. So I think this is the one that he left. This is like the one he would think would be his masterpiece, and the one where he said everything he wanted to say. So this almost feels like the final film. He made about 10 more afterwards, but this almost feels like sort of him summing up his career and his life and what he was interested in. So this just an incredible film full of amazing characters and amazing moments, and it's just great film. Watch it if you've not seen it. If you're a fan at all of Robert Altman or ensemble films, or seeing a bunch of 90s actors who don't work as much nowadays, then you'll love this film. But I would recommend it pretty much to really anyone. For a film that's 3 hours long with 24 characters, it flies by. It's just incredibly well paced because you've got so many people. It's one of them films and all where it cuts to someone, you're like, I want to see more of that, but there isn't one where there isn't a single character who's more interested than the others. They're all given equal precedence. It's just an amazing film. It's probably the definitive sort of ensemble film. Better than, I don't know, Magnolia is the other one, the Paul Thomas Anderson film, which is a great film, but it's not half as good as this film.
Okay.
Because if you watch Magnolia, you'll see there's some problems with it, to say the least. But this film is just incredible. Yeah, watch Shortcuts, Altman's second best film.